nobody can harm you without your consent. Epictetus. The phrase, "nobody can harm you without your consent," is an essential statement in Stoic philosophy, often attributed to Epictetus. It encapsulates a fundamental principle of Stoicism, which is internal control over one's emotional reactions to external events. Let's explore it more deeply. Emotional control. Stoicism teaches that we are responsible for our own emotions and reactions. No one has the power to emotionally affect us unless we allow it. This statement emphasizes the importance of emotional self-control. The word consent is crucial here. It refers to the conscious choice of how we react to circumstances. In other words, we are masters of our thoughts and emotions, and it's our responsibility to decide how to interpret and respond to events. Stoicism teaches that our happiness and well-being should not depend on external factors, such as the behavior of others or unexpected events. Instead, we should seek inner serenity, which is achieved by recognizing that we are the only ones with the power to allow something to affect us emotionally. The phrase also implies that, rather than resisting or resenting circumstances, we should accept them as they are. This doesn't mean we should be passive, but rather that we should embrace reality and work with it constructively. Personal responsibility. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of taking responsibility for our own lives and emotions. Instead of blaming others or circumstances, we are encouraged to take control and cultivate inner strength. At the core of this phrase is the idea that we can maintain our inner peace and serenity, regardless of what happens around us, as long as we exercise our power of choice over our emotional responses. It invites reflection on how often emotions are self-induced by our judgments and perceptions, and that we have the ability to change this dynamic by cultivating a more stoic mindset. Virtue is sufficient for happiness. Seneca. This simple and profound statement highlights Stoicism's emphasis on virtue as the path to true happiness. Imagine yourself in a world where turmoil, uncertainties, and adversities are inevitable, where circumstances often unfold in ways you cannot control. In this scenario, the pursuit of happiness might seem like an endless quest, one that often ends in frustration and disillusionment. However, the Stoics offer a unique perspective, an unshakable source of serenity in the apparent chaos of life. Virtue is sufficient for happiness. These words resonate like a lighthouse amidst the storm, reminding us that true happiness does not depend on external circumstances, wealth, fame, or anything beyond our control. Instead, virtue, moral excellence, is the cornerstone upon which our joy should be built. We are not disturbed by things, but by the view we take of them. Epictetus is a deeply philosophical statement that explores the relationship between our perception and our emotions. It highlights a fundamental principle of Stoicism, which is the idea that it's not the events themselves that affect us, but rather how we interpret them. Imagine yourself in a challenging situation. It could be an unfair criticism, a personal loss, or an event that triggers intense emotions. Often, our initial reaction is to blame the circumstances or the people involved. However, Epictetus reminds us that the source of our disturbance does not lie in the external world, but within our own minds and perceptions. This statement is an invitation to self-reflection and emotional self-responsibility. It encourages us to look inward and recognize that while we cannot control the world around us, we can control how we choose to perceive it and, by extension, how we emotionally react. It's a powerful reminder that the power to shape our emotional responses resides in our own minds. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more harmful than the injury that caused it. Seneca is a profound reflection on emotional control, particularly the emotion of anger. It is often associated with Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers. Imagine yourself in a situation that would typically trigger anger. Perhaps someone has been unjust to you, made an unfair criticism, or harmed your interests in some way. The instinctive reaction is often to feel anger, but Seneca reminds us that this anger is not only useless, but also harmful. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more harmful than the injury that caused it, reminds us that emotional control, especially regarding anger, is not only a virtue, but also a wise choice. Avoiding anger doesn't mean being passive in the face of injustices, but dealing with them more effectively and constructively while preserving our inner peace. It's a call to emotional self-discipline and reflection on how we react to challenging situations. Wisdom is the ability to live in accordance with nature. Zeno of Citium. This is a fundamental statement of Stoicism, attributed to the teachings of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoic philosophy. Let's explore it more deeply. Imagine a world where wisdom is more than merely accumulating intellectual knowledge. In this world, wisdom is seen as the ability to live in harmony with the natural order of the universe and as the key to a meaningful and balanced life. Wisdom is the ability to live in accordance with nature, is a reminder that true wisdom is not merely academic, but practical. It involves living by ethical principles, accepting reality as it is, and finding serenity amidst the vicissitudes of life. This practical wisdom is viewed as the key to a fulfilling and meaningful life, according to Stoic principles. He who controls his passions is invulnerable. Seneca. It emphasizes the importance of emotional self-control in Stoic philosophy. It highlights how mastery over emotions can lead to a state of emotional invulnerability. Let's explore this statement more deeply. Imagine yourself as someone who can remain calm and composed, no matter the challenging circumstances that may arise in your life. You can face adversity, criticism, or temptations without being swayed by emotional impulses. This statement challenges us to become masters of our own emotions, and in doing so, achieve a form of invulnerability that is not related to insensitivity, but to inner strength and the ability to confront the world with serenity. It invites us to consider the positive impact that emotional self-control can have on our lives and relationships, allowing us to act in alignment with our values and principles. Accepting what we cannot change is the first step to serenity. Seneca. This is a profound statement about the importance of acceptance in Stoic philosophy. This phrase reminds us that a fundamental part of serenity and emotional balance lies in our ability to accept the things we cannot control. Let's explore this statement more deeply. Imagine yourself in a situation that is beyond your control. It could be an illness, the loss of a loved one, a career setback, or any other circumstance that causes you anxiety or suffering. The natural reaction is often resistance, struggling against reality, which can result in greater distress. However, Stoicism teaches us that accepting what we cannot change is the first step in finding serenity.